And today's topic is inside the subconscious mind. So,
Isn't that amazing?
yes, today we'll get to learn a lot, because we have two amazing people who have been the pillars of the industry when it comes to NLP training. And when I'll tell you this frankly, the behind the scene part, that when we were actually writing their introduction, me and Deepa were so overwhelmed, that because there was so much to talk about in the introduction part itself.
Yes.
So, but we have tried our best to introduce them properly, because they have so much of the data when it comes to the achievement part. But yes, so Deepa, should we introduce our first guest?
Yes, before we introduce our first guest, I'd like to tell you, when it comes to the subconscious mind, I think everybody has so many questions. Of all the questions that we want to ask them, I'm sure I'd like to invite everyone who's watching this chat to please ask questions. Anything that you'd like to know when it comes to the subconscious mind, because I have my set of questions ready.
Oh yes, and I have my set of questions ready too. So welcoming everyone who is joining us right now. Welcome Ankit, welcome Priyanka, welcome to the show, and keep commenting so that I know what is your question for our guest. So before any further delay, let me introduce our first guest. She is a soft skill abundance trainer for almost 30 years. She is a TEDx speaker, grooming consultant for corporates and beauty pageants. She is an NLP practitioner, and her specialization is relationship mastery. She's a YouTuber who has more than 300 videos on YouTube, with over 2 million views already, and that channel is obviously growing day by day. And she's also a judo and taekwondo black belt, and she is also into table tennis, cricket. I can keep going on and on and on and on. And she's also an expert in mind mapping and graphology, and she is also a proud mother of 2 kids. And before I go on with my introduction, let me please bring in Zenobia Khodaiji to our show. Hello Zenobia, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi Zenobia, lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction.
Yes, we were literally trying to figure, because Zenobia has so much of accomplishments that we literally had to filter out how nicely we can introduce what you have done. So it's really incredible to have you on our show today. And yes, so also we have one more guest today who will be coming to our show, and Deepa has a big introduction for him. So Deepa, why don't you start?
I took a lot of time to write down this introduction and filter it. Like Anupam said, we've got such amazing guests on our show. It's so difficult to kind of introduce them in those, short period of what we have. So our next guest today is a person whose mission is to introduce Zing in the lives of people. He has made a difference in the lives of over 25,000 people across levels and functions. Within the arena of behavioral changes, strategic planning, leadership, innovation, emotional intelligence, management, and sales, he is a highly successful facilitator and a coach. Personal counseling and therapy are areas where he has been highly sought out. Based on his experience, he's currently also authoring a book on the basic tools required by people to achieve the Zing. The Zing is something that we all need at this moment. And if I can tell you a little more about him, he has facilitated over 1,000 workshops and is the world's first and only master trainer to train in and offer accredited certification in NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming, purely in Indian languages. So, and he's also the first Indian master trainer of NLP and ANLP in India. So let's welcome Umesh Soman.
Thank you so much for that, Deepa. Amazing.
Hi,
hello, thank you so much.
I was wondering, I hope I've not missed out on anything that, any specification when it comes to all the work that you've done. I hope I've not missed out on anything.
That was really wonderful. I love the way you've summed it up. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
Welcome, Umesh and Zenobia. It's really a privilege to have you here on Sukhoon Chat.
Thank you. It's such an honor to share the screen with Umesh. Wonderful.
Oh, the honor is all mine, Zenobia. Thank you so much. And thank you both for bringing us together at the same time. Thank you so much.
It's an honor. It's an honor for us. So before we get into more questions, people start questioning. First question I'd like to ask you, Umesh. What is the subconscious mind? Since we're talking about what happens inside the subconscious mind, let's first understand what is the subconscious mind.
Okay. One of the most misunderstood things on the surface of this planet. All right. So what normally, now this started with a lot of books being written on the subject in the past where the term subconscious mind became so popular. Now, technically speaking, if you really go deeper, instead of the subconscious mind, the mind is divided fundamentally into two parts, the conscious mind and the unconscious mind.
Yeah.
So there's a difference why we call it unconscious instead of subconscious. The word sub itself means something which is under. Under has another denotation which is less to.
Okay.
So by saying subconscious, we are saying something that is less than the conscious mind. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
By doing that, we are reducing its power. And therefore, we call it the unconscious mind. There is something technically also called the subconscious mind, which is that part which is slightly hidden underneath the conscious mind. So what is the conscious mind? The conscious mind is basically, consciousness is all about awareness, the way we are referring to in our mind. So whatever it is that we are aware of is referred to as our conscious mind. Anything which is beyond our awareness is our unconscious mind. And there is that one small layer there which can easily come into our awareness. For example, if I ask you right now, are you breathing? This is one question I often ask in a lot of my sessions. The answer is obviously yes. Were you aware of it till I asked you this question?
No.
It was beyond your awareness right now. The moment I asked you, you started becoming aware of it. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that is part of your subconscious mind. Things that you can easily become aware of. And broadly, the lower levels, the deeper levels within your unconscious mind are such that unless and until you use specific techniques and tools, there is absolutely zero chance of you even becoming aware of it. For example, if I were to tell you right now, can you become aware exactly how many beats per minute your heart is beating at? Even when I ask you this question, it's really impossible, isn't it?
It's impossible.
Now, this is just a simple example. It's actually a far more complex thing than that.
Yeah.
So I hope this clears the air about the subconscious mind, and ideally, technically, what should it be called? Technically, it is the unconscious mind. Does that make sense?
It's an amazing myth that you've broken here, Umesh, because me being from the world of L&D, I also am a certified trainer. I've always known the conscious and the subconscious mind. Of course, there is an unconscious mind, but which was the third angle of the conscious mind. But now I understand the thin line between the subconscious and the unconscious mind.
Super.
Zenobia, what's your take on the subconscious mind? Now that Umesh has said it's the unconscious mind, what is your take on it?
Yeah. I believe the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind has no power of its own. The power is given from the conscious mind, your subtle thoughts. You know, sometimes people sit and say, "Maine to kuch bola hi nahi." But the whole day there's self-talk. "Mera kuch nahi hone wala hai," he tells himself. So the subconscious and unconscious mind grabs that information and that becomes your reality. So you have to be very careful of your conscious thoughts, what you repeat, because someone inside you is listening. And that is going to become your reality. So be very, very careful of what you say and what you don't say and even think to yourself. Self-talk is very dangerous. Good self-talk is wonderful. But negative self-talk is the worst thing that gets everything down, because all the command is given from the subconscious mind. So the moment the conscious mind gives a command, the subconscious mind. So I always recommend that night time, write down 11 things that you want. Put it under your pillow, kiss your pillow, talk to your higher self and to your subconscious mind and tell it what you want. Wake up in the morning and reaffirm it. That's when life will become beautiful. And all your visualization will just come tuck, tuck, tuck.
That's the power of manifestation. In fact, you won't believe, Zenobia, before you logged in, we were having a chat with Umesh, and I was telling him, I keep attempting to manifest things, but yet somewhere in mind, that a constant chatter, कि ये नहीं होगा, ये होगा या नहीं होगा, is where the manifestation
That's the
does not.
danger.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were just having this conversation a little while ago.
And
So
it has
thank
to be one command. If you're selling a house and you're saying, okay, will I get 5 crores? No, maybe 510, maybe 490 and I'll sell it. When you have these ambiguities, the poor subconscious mind doesn't know. The moment you give 3 commands, it's confused. There has to be one single command.
Right.
Yeah.
So try it, whatever you want. Singularly, put your focus to it. If it's, for instance, buying a new house or selling your home, if you're buying it, then know which area, which flat, which street, where you want it, and let the focus be so strong. How much money, which bank you're going to give it from. The moment the command is given correctly, you will just laugh your way in life.
I completely agree. It's all about clarity and focus. And thank you. I'm sure I needed something like this today.
Yeah, so for we have been defining this like how Umesh has also defined in a very technical term. So I'm thinking for a layman, who is a lot of people are also watching who might not know. So if you can tell in a very simple language before we literally dive into the conversation for unconscious mind, if you can define what is NLP for us. Umesh, you first.
Sure. Yeah. So, in very simple words, NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, a lot of people think it's a very complex thing because the name itself is so long, so technical.
Yeah.
In reality, it's very, very simple. Yeah, it's very, very simple. So to put it simply, let's understand how NLP originated. So the people who worked in the initial stages of NLP, what they just did was they looked at something that somebody was doing really well, exceptionally well. And they just looked at what do these people, what goes on inside their minds that they're doing it so brilliantly.
Yeah.
Right.
For example, now, of course, I'm just using it because this example is something that we all can relate to. They never had this opportunity. But let's say Amitabh Bachchan, one of the most amazing actors that Indian cinema has been blessed with. So instead of observing what Amitabh does with his hands and feet and the way he speaks, etc., they looked at what is going on inside of Amitabh's mind. Again, as I said, I'm just using Amitabh's example. They never had the fortune to meet up with this amazing gentleman. So they just looked at what goes on inside here that makes Amitabh such a great actor. And they said, now let's use that and see if we can act as well as Amitabh. So instead of becoming a duplicate of Amitabh Bachchan, let's look at, can we act as well as Amitabh Bachchan? This process was called modeling. So unlike a lot of other areas which believe in research, a lot of research into statistics and proving things over a period of time, NLP just looked at if it is something that is working amazingly well, let's just use it. So in that sense, NLP has copied from all kinds of excellent models of work. So they've copied from actors, sports people, everybody you can think of. So what is NLP? The study of excellence. That's all it is.
You've so beautifully defined.
Yeah, it's so simply you have defined it. I think we did more research curating this show, but this was the line we were looking for.
You defined it so beautifully in just one sentence.
Thank you. Thank you.
So also before we move on to other questions, I have a lot of fans who are messaging and they are saying hello to both Zenobia and Umesh. We have Diksha, we have Shushma, we have Ambika, we have Ashwini Kulkarni who is there with us. Thank you so much guys for joining. Do send in your questions because you have no idea. We have 2 experts and we don't want to let this chance go. We have to take all the answers of our questions today. This is our golden chance. And yes, so Zenobia, there was one thing which you said in your question, in your answer earlier, like writing down those things, how you communicate. So that is a part of one routine which you can do before going to bed, or whenever you get time. But my question is a little more related to that only. That this is like an exercise where you can try to communicate with your unconscious mind, I'll say, after Unmesh has defined. So how do I regularly keep in touch with my unconscious mind? Like, writing journal is one part of the routine.
Yeah, you need to continuously communicate.
Yeah, how
with
do I
yourself.
continue with that thing?
It's about making the right habits. Okay? Like if you once start swimming, after 10 years, if you swim, you will still swim or cycle.
Yes.
The same way, you have to reprogram your mind and begin with small baby steps and little habits. And this beautiful habit of writing down, I do 2 things, and my millions of students all over do that. Write down 11 things a minimum. Every night. If you're lazy to write, read it. Take a little book. Every day, if you're tired of rewriting and you want to skip, at least bring it into your aura and into your circle of excellence. Write down 11 things and write down 3 things good that happened that day. It's called forming a habit, thanking the universe, and writing down, did you get parking? The fact people sometimes say, oh, but what do I have to thank for? The fact that you get up in the morning is a blessing. Not everybody gets up the next day and is alive. Okay, your family together, your loved ones. Train your mind to be grateful. Write a gratitude journal. People's lives has changed. And I know people who have become millionaires just being in gratitude. The moment you tell the universe, thank you, it'll give you more and more. It's like a father. The child says thank you and the father brings sweets. So he brings it every day because he wants that hug from the child. Exactly like that is the mind. The more what you feed it. If you feed it anger, it'll become a tiger. And you feed it love, it'll become a rabbit. You are what you feed. So start feeding not only your body and not only at the parlor, waxing your hands and doing things, but feed your soul, feed your mind. Read something good once a day. Make a habit of being kind to someone once a day. These practices actually will train your subconscious mind to see everything good. Okay, if you say bought a new Lamborghini, on the road your eye will catch everything red if it's a red one. The mind will start looking for what you are. So feed it correctly. If you feed the mind correctly, beautiful.
So taking on from there, Zenobia,
Lovely,
like you're saying,
lovely.
that's
Anupam,
amazing.
can I just add on something here?
Yes,
please.
please. Yes.
So as I was just thinking, from the moment we decided to do this session, the company that you have brought us, Sukhoon, is ICE Global, right? So it just struck me, how do you communicate with your unconscious mind? Use ICE.
Okay.
The acronym ICE. I stands for imagination, C stands for creativity, and E stands for emotion. These are 3 wonderful ways, like Zenobia was just saying. If you just use these 3 things to do what Zenobia was telling, this will support you amazingly well. Your unconscious will take you places that you have yet to even imagine.
Wow.
This is something to make note of, Deepa. We have to make note of this particular thing. This is something amazing what he has said.
Beautifully defined ICE. And I think it's just the way you've connected it. You married the concept of the subconscious mind and NLP into ICE and just said it so beautifully, Umesh. Thank you so much for that.